Hey Cougar fans, Carter Glydehill, Peter Borkowski with you on the Cougar pregame show as we get ready for week 3 of the football season here at Concordia University, Chicago, as the Cougars are hosting the Aurora University Spartans. Peter, let's go back to last week's game for the Cougars against Finlandia University. 45-7, the Cougars prevail in front of a packed crowd at Concordia Stadium. The other thing is, too, the Cougars pick up the most points in a game since 2016 behind an offense that was well-rounded and was driven from the start.
Well-rounded was the name of the game, Carter. 200 yards through the air, over 160 net yards on the ground. Defense had a great game as well, only held Finlandia to 143 yards, forced 5 sacks and a couple takeaways to boot.
Now, the Cougars are going to be taking on a tough task in the mighty fast and the mighty strong Aurora University Spartans, who last year finished 22nd in the nation according to D3Football.com's final season rankings. 45 points per game. That was one of the best in the conference, and the Spartans have not slowed down. They actually picked up their first win of the season last week against Franklin College.
It was a big win against Franklin, 570 yards of offense. Their quarterback, Josh Swanson, threw for 3 touchdowns. Their running back, Jaquay Cretan, he gained 125 yards on the ground, had a touchdown as well. Defense, they came away with 4 sacks and 2 interceptions.
Well, just as much as Aurora is starting to click on offense, the Cougars clicked on offense as we go back to that game against Finlandia. There were a lot of players for the Cougars that really stepped up their game in week 2, and in particular, there are a few on offense that took it to that extra level and really made a difference on last Saturday's game.
Finn Aller, sophomore quarterback, getting his first couple of starts of the year these past 2 games, had some good efficiency, 15 for 21, added a touchdown. DeAndre Daniels doing DeAndre Daniels things, a 48-yard touchdown. Devin Bledsoe, he only had 2 receptions but managed to get 63 yards out of it. Great overall production from every player on the offense.
So that young offensive corps for the Cougars is starting to pick up a little bit more. Well, let's also mention one player in particular for the Cougars that had the biggest contribution out of all of them, and probably was on the field the least amount of time. The kicker, Ryan Auer, picking up NAC Special Teams Player of the Week, as well as D3Football.com Special Teams Player of the Week. Heck of a game from the kicker.
Auer got the scoring started for the day with a 45-yard field goal, and then he went a perfect 6 for 6 on the points after touchdowns. Great game from the sophomore. Looking forward to see him continuing to improve and get better as his career goes on.
Well, the Cougars have a tough task ahead of them. We'll talk about the defense on the other side for the Cougars and what they need to do to slow down the Spartans, and we'll also give our final thoughts on the game when we return on the Cougar pregame show.
Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, president of Concordia University, Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Welcome back to the Cougar pregame show. Carter Glydehill, Peter Borkowski with you on the Cougar Sports Network as we are minutes away from opening kickoff between the Spartans and the Cougars. Peter, last week we saw the defense shine against Finlandia for CUC. This is a defense that's now making its way into the national ranks, only allowing the Lions to pick up 143 yards in last week's game, only 19 through the air, but there are some big-time players that are making some big-time moves for the defense.
7th nationally ranked right now in the sacks category. 3 players who really stood out from that past game. Trayvon Thomas led the team with 10 total tackles. Martin Egbo forced a fumble, and freshman Brandon Montford making his name known. He had 3 tackles for loss that game as well.
Should also add Charles Kirtley, too, with the scoop and score in the second half. For the Cougars, they have to face an offense for the Spartans that's really fast-paced, but there's also some big playmakers that have really shown so far in the first 2 games for Aurora that offense is not going to slow down, and they're going to continue that high-scoring trend that we've seen so far.
Trey Madsen, wide receiver for the Spartans, leads the team with 5 touchdowns right now. And then their QB, Josh Swanson, I mentioned him earlier, 612 passing yards on the year. He's one of the league leaders in the NAC right now in that category.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here in the Cougar pregame show, give our final thoughts. Peter, give me the final thought for you. What's it going to take for the Cougars to beat the Spartans today?
The offense needs to be consistent. I don't just mean putting points up on the board every drive, but they need to take their time. They need to possess the ball. You know, you often say the best defense is to keep the other offense off the field, especially when you have one as potent as the Spartans. So as long as the Cougars offense can keep things moving, keep those chains going, keep that Spartans offense on the sideline, they should have a decent chance today, Carter.
Well, what I would say to complement that is that the defense really needs to match the intensity that Aurora's offense is going to be setting. This is a team that's going to be fast-paced, and we saw last year what happened with CUC when they didn't match that intensity and they fell behind early as they lost 70-0 against Aurora on the road. So for the Cougars, with a third down defense that's one of the top in the country, holding opponents to under 14% conversion rate on third down, and also one of the best passing defenses in the country. This is a team that's going to rely on a lot of speed, a lot of youth, and they're going to have to play a full 60 minutes of football to take down the Spartans.
Definitely.
Well, the Cougars get set for a conference matchup against the Aurora University Spartans here at Concordia Stadium. Kickoff at 1 p.m. Peter and I are going to go head up to the broadcast booth. We will be with you on the call on the Cougar Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in to the Cougar pregame show.
Their offense is, so some big field goals could come in handy for CUC today.
The kick is away. It'll be brought out. A good run all the way to the 30-yard line. Return brought out by James Martino, and the Spartans offense will take the field for the first time, led by the senior quarterback, Josh Swanson.
Swanson had a good game last week against Franklin, 20 for 37, 292 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's having a good season overall, 612 yards, 8 touchdowns on the year. Has thrown 2 interceptions though, so he's not completely perfect on the year, but between him, wide receiver Trey Madsen, and running back Jaquai Cretan, this is a really good Aurora offense, as we've been saying.
Spartans start off in spread formation. Running back Jaquai Cretan in the backfield, but they'll start off with a pass to Cam Moore. He's able to pick up the first down. This is a Spartans team that is very good on first down, but also too, you mentioned that passing game for the Spartans. They averaged over 300 yards through the air in their 2 games so far this season, but the biggest thing is this team moves fast when they have the ball.
You got to do something to try and slow them down, or else they're going to keep your defense on your back feet all game. You got to give yourself a little breathing time.
Play action from the Spartans. Swanson has a man downfield, but double coverage by the Cougars. Ball was overthrown to number 15, Michael Bolin.
We see Coach Beebe, one of the offensive coordinators on this team, along with Ryan Gaylor kind of switching things up on the Cougars. Start off with a short little screen pass that they able to get the first down after yards after completion and try and take a shot downfield.
2nd and 10 on the 35-yard line. Spartans will hand it off. It'll be a pickup of about 2. Nice pushback from the Cougars front line, and that's the backbone of this defense, Peter. You look at it, Martin Egbo, Julian Ramirez, Jelani Warner, the 3 guys up front that need to make a difference today for the Cougars in trying to slow down the Spartans.
This is a young Cougars defense. It's a young Cougars team in general, but those front 3 that you mentioned, they're all upperclassmen. Ramirez, Warner, seniors, Egbo, junior. They got to take a charge here against Aurora.
4 receivers bunched to the right side for the Spartans, 3rd and 7. Instead of going to the screen, they go to the one-on-one matchup down the sideline. Trey Matson laid out down the Spartan sideline, but good coverage from Charles Kirtley, forcing the incompletion. A nice way for the Cougars defense to start off, and we talk about that tough 3rd down defense the Cougars have had so far this season. A nice staller after giving up a 1st down on the first play of the game.
Cougars always seem to come out of the gates firing defensively, and we see it here again today. The offense can come out, put some points up on the board. That's going to be a really good start. You can get this jump start on Aurora. You don't have to be playing from behind for most of the game.
Kevin Landa, the freshman punter, is back to kick it away for the Spartans. Snap rolls on the ground. Cougars not able to get enough pressure in the backfield. Christian Covington will watch the ball bounce away near the Spartan sideline. The Cougars will start their first drive at the 25-yard line. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. We'd like to thank Jackson Spurgeon and Cheryl Ann Straczynski for being some of the members that have joined our channel. Finn Allers, the sophomore quarterback from Atlanta, Georgia, will lead the offense for the Cougars again, making his 3rd start of his career. And he'll start off with a play action interception by the Spartans, taking it all the way to the 11-yard line. Ernesto Ramirez, the junior safety. Allers just threw that pass behind Covington, an RPO to start the game. We talked about the interception problems that we've had with Allers so far, but right now, a quick turnover after a good drive from the defense. Spartans are in the red zone.
There seemed to be some miscommunication between Allers and his receivers. I think Allers knew where he was putting that ball, and he was dead set on it. So he did it, and maybe should have taken an extra second, thought things through really quick, because that was a quick release.
So the Spartans will get to the ball on the 12-yard line. Again, bunch formation for the Spartans on the right side. Play action again. In on the tackle was Egbo in the backfield, forcing some pressure on Swanson. An incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. We'll take a look back at the interception. And just, Peter, it was just miscommunication. But again, it was one of those things that Allers just, one of those throws that was just behind the receivers.
And like I said, I think Allers had his first read, and he was going there no matter what. Didn't really think about, changing the game plan when things didn't go the way they were supposed to, and that's what resulted in the quick interception.
Play clock down at 10 for the Spartans. They're still getting lined up. Swanson directing traffic, sends Duncan to the other side of the line, and a timeout called by Don Beebe. The first timeout taken by the Spartans. Will step away. Cougars have to play tough defense after the interception from Finn Allers. Sets up 2nd and 10 of the 12 for the Spartans. The Aurora Spartans and the Concordia University Chicago Cougars. Opening game for both teams of conference play. We'll return to action when we get back on the other side of the break on the Cougar Sports Network. So a timeout taken by the Spartans just to regroup, getting ready for 2nd and 10. Going in motion is Trey Madsen. Roll-out pass, almost an interception for the Cougars. The ball popped out of the hands of the freshman safety, B.J. Pitts. Could have been the first interception for the freshman of his career. Now it sets up a big 3rd and long for the Spartans.
Spartans offense just looks a little flustered right now. They don't look that clean, and Swanson, he's only 1 for 5, couple overthrows, couple bad throws in general. They just look out of sorts as compared to where they usually are.
Play clock down at 10. A quick adjustment by Swanson. Drops back. Cougars applying pressure. Goes to the corner and just out of the reach of Trey Madsen. Again on 3rd down, they go to Madsen, and Swanson is not able to get it in.
We mentioned them earlier, but credit that Cougars front line. They're getting to Swanson quick. They're not getting sacks or tackles for loss, but they're getting in the backfield. They're putting pressure on him, and that's leading to a lot of these missed throws, it looks like. Swanson just doesn't look like he's got it right now. A couple missed throws, couple overthrows, kind of killing the offense right now.
So the Spartans keep the offense on the field. It is 4th and 10. They are 3 for 5 on the season and 4th down conversions. Snap back, Swanson looks right, has a man, no flag thrown, an incomplete pass. Swanson tried Cam Moore on the other side, and that is a big-time stop for the Cougars defense after the turnover.
Well, the offense has got to use this momentum now. You can't go out there, throw one play, and turn it over again. You got a lot of momentum, big 4th down stop in the red zone. You know, you thought Aurora would at least walk away with 3 points if they kicked the field goal. Instead, they got 0 on the board still. The offense, they got to do their part now, move the chains, get this defense a breather, too. They've been on the field a lot so far today. Give them some time to catch their breath.
So it'll be a shovel pass to DeAndre Daniels. A flag does come out as Daniels steps out around the 17-yard line. The official for today's game is Peter Blair. We'll send it down to the field for the call. So the signal on the field is a holding call that goes against the Cougars, so it'll back the ball up closer to the Cougars' end zone. It'll officially be placed at the 6-yard line.
Penalties, something Cougars got to watch out for. They beat Finlandia last week. They still put up 135 yards in penalties. You can't play that sloppy against a great team like Aurora, else they're going to make you pay for it.
Man in motion, handoff to Daniels again, has some wiggle room. Ball comes out, and able to jump on it is the left tackle, C.J. Morris. The sophomore, lucky to be in the area. That ball popped right out of Daniels' grasp. Looks like a helmet came right on the ball.
It's a catastrophe averted for the Cougars. Have 2 crucial turnovers in deep into your own zone. You know, eventually Aurora is going to do something with that. So Cougars able to get the ball back. Still got a ways to go on 2nd down.
2nd and 11. Ball on the 11. Allers, quick pass out to Daniels. And a good tackle on the outside and forcing Daniels out of bounds. Number 29, Ben Slatkoff. The junior cornerback able to fend off Jordan White on the outside. Able to pick up a couple yards on the play to make it a manageable 3rd and short.
Looks like Coach Lambert and his offensive staff kind of simplifying things for Allers right now after that interception. Don't do anything too risky for him. Get his confidence back before you start taking some shots downfield. But, you know, they got a 3rd and decent amount of yardage to go here.
Daniels in motion. They swing it outside and a big hit in the backfield. Daniels stays up but has to go down. The Spartans all over that little swing pass out to Daniels. Ernesto Ramirez, who had the pick, was in the backfield. They tried to get Daniels in open area, but again, the Spartans defense playing lockdown. Ramirez again with another big play.
All these pitches to the wings for the Cougars, try and get Daniels in open space. They're just not cutting it right now. Aurora's doing a great job getting into the backfield, disrupting that play. Cougars gonna have to pull something else out of their bag of tricks to get past a tough Aurora defense.
So Troy Pradley back to kick it away for the Cougars. A line drive punt that it's fielded around the 45, and taking it out again is James Martino.
The flag down.
Flag down on the play. Ball will be spotted around the 25-yard line. So again, a good pickup for the Spartans. And again, now the Cougars defense has to trot back out on the field. We'll send it down to referee Peter Blair for the call after the flag on the punt. So a face mask called on the Cougars. You talk about some of the careless penalties that the Cougars had against Finlandia. Well, now it moves the Spartans even closer to the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 13-yard line for the Spartans, and it sets up again another deep red zone spot, or drive I should say, for the Spartans.
The Cougars defense, they're earning their playing time right now.
They get it out to Cretin on the edge, looking for the pylon, and he has it. Touchdown, Spartans. Jaquay Cretin able to sneak his way down the sideline into the end zone for the first score of the game.
It's a good block there by Michael Boland on the wing. For wide receiver, gave Cretin that open space he needed to get down the sideline.
Austin Wilgoals to kick it for the Spartans. Splits the uprights. Aurora takes a 7-0 lead with 10:53 remaining in the first quarter. Take a look back, Peter, at the touchdown for the Spartans.
So it's kind of the same play we've seen the Cougars run, just a little pitch to the running back in the backfield, let him do his thing. Got some big blocks. Again, Michael Boland putting up a big one on the edge. Being able to get around, turn that corner, and then rush up the sideline, barely make it in the pylon. But Cougars kept giving the ball to Aurora deep in their own zone. You knew eventually something was going to break. As good as this Cougars defense is, they can't stay out on the field that long. Offense has yet to gain a first down today. So eventually they're just going to get tired and break. So big offensive drive here for the Cougars. They can take some time of possession up, give that defense a breather. It'll be best for both sides of the ball.
Cougars right now with only 1 yard of offense, -4 in the passing game and only 5 on the ground. Spartans, though, after that last drive, a 1-play drive, and again, a 14-yard touchdown scored by Jaquay Cretin. Cougars trying to respond. A little pooch kick for the Spartans. And a fair catch called for by the Cougars at the 31-yard line. Jordan White, the freshman tight end from Panama City Beach, Florida. So now if you're the Cougars, Peter, you haven't been able to get anything going offensively. What do you go to in the playbook, try to jumpstart the offense?
Well, you got a couple options. Of course, one of the more obvious ones is give DeAndre Daniels the ball in the backfield. Try and have him rush it up the gut, use his strength and speed to find something. Also start going downfield a little bit. They've been doing a lot of backfield stuff. Start moving down the chains a little.
They hand it off to Daniels. Picks up a good chunk of yardage. About a 4-yard rush for Daniels. And this is a guy that was an all-region running back last year. And he's been the vocal point for this offense so far, his second year with the Cougars. He's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, but again, the kind of moves that we've seen this guy make so far is the reason why he's been out on the field so much.
Daniels is getting better as the season goes on. Put up a 48-yard touchdown in last week's game.
Allers keeps it, but it's brought down in the backfield by number 42, Jared Pratt, the junior tackle. Able to force his way in the backfield. A loss of 4 on the play. The Cougars face a 3rd and 10.
This is when you got to go downfield. Now you got 10 yards to make up on one play. I mean, 2 if you decide to go for it on 4th down. Don't know if that's in the cards right now. But you got to keep this offense on the field. You got to give your defense a breather because they've been on the field a lot so far today.
Spartans bring the blitz, and the pass is knocked down by number 42, Jared Pratt. Back-to-back plays, the junior tackle, able to shut down the Cougars offense. It'll be a 3-and-out for the Cougars, and the punt team heads back out on the field.
What a good series of plays from Pratt. Gets in the backfield, takes down Allers on one play, and then bats that ball down on the next play. Big reason the Cougars are punting right now.
Spartans have all 10 players on the line. They bring the rush, and Prattley was hit in the backfield, but no flag was thrown. Letting it roll is Martino as it goes out of bounds around the 32, 33-yard line on the Spartan side of the field. So Prattley trying to sell maybe some contact on the punt, but again, the Spartans able to get into the backfield. But a nice change for this defense, Peter. The Spartans have to work from the other side of the field in their own territory to start the drive after 2 red zone drives to start off.
Defense has a little bit more wiggle room to play with when you're backed in your own red zone. It's kind of do or die in that situation. Now you got a lot of field to, make a mistake here or there, but still you got to contain this Aurora offense.
And hit in the backfield was Cretan. First hit was initially drawn by Martin Egbo. Pickup of maybe 1, if that. Spartans right back on the ball. They hand it off to Cretan again. Stuffed at the line of scrimmage. In on the tackle was the freshman linebacker Brandon Montford, who had 11 tackles in last week's game against Finlandia. Spartans now facing 3rd and 7. Play action. Swanson outright. Nice hit on the play by number 26 for the Cougars, BJ Pitts. Big stop for the defense. Peter, this has become a defensive showcase for both teams as the Cougars force another 3-and-out.
And besides that, 1 lapse in the red zone on Aurora's last drive that led to the touchdown. Yeah, both defenses are playing really, really good football right now. You got to imagine, too, if they didn't start that drive near the red zone, that touchdown might not have happened. So Cougars defense doing their part. They just need their offense to step up a little.
Punt is away by Landa. In the air, Covington did not call for the fair catch. He's knocked out around the 30-yard line. So in this game so far, Peter, there's only been 35 yards of offense between both of these teams. And the Cougars, again, only 1 total yard of offense so far. Really haven't had anything going. A lot of 3-and-outs for this team. And hopefully this drive for the Cougars, starting at their own 30 with a little bit of some breathing room to their own end zone, might spark something offensively.
Well, they knew playing defense was going to be a challenge against a team that puts up over 40 points a game.
They hand it off to Daniels. Couldn't find a lane to get past the line of scrimmage. Connor Nordmeyer, the senior safety, able to stuff Daniels at the line of scrimmage. So again, no gain on the play for the Cougars. 2nd and 10, 7:31 remaining in the opening quarter.
As I was saying, Cougars, they knew defense was going to be key to winning today's game against a Aurora team that regularly puts up over 40 points a game. But you got to figure out the offense too. This Aurora defense, as we've seen today, they're no slouches. So you got to figure it out on both ends of the ball.
2 backs in the backfield for the Cougars. They hand it off to Daniels. Tried to get to the edge. He picks up a yard, maybe 2. But right now, Peter, Daniels is trying to get outside of the tackles, but there's so much pursuit from the Spartans defense that he can't even get out there. He has to go right back to the middle. And all that secondary pursuit from the Spartans is really denying the Cougars' rush game.
Well, I'm hoping the Cougars' offensive staff, led by offensive coordinator Chase Hankins, they try something else, because we've seen a lot of backfield action. It just hasn't gone anywhere past this front line from Aurora's defense. So you got to try and do something to get past them, and that usually is throwing the ball bit downfield, which we haven't really seen today.
Spartans bring the blitz, and down in the backfield goes Finn Allers. The sack for the Spartans comes from number 24, Otis Watts. The senior lineman from Chicago, Illinois, comes untouched in the backfield. That play was busted from the start.
This is a really young Cougars offensive line. All 5 of them are underclassmen besides the starting center, Amir Kavik. So Aurora's defense, which is a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of senior and junior leaders, they're just having a field day getting past that line.
Pradley kicks it away. Nice punt at the 40. Martino makes a move. A flag flies. He gets down to the other side of the field, still going. He's brought down around the CUC 28-yard line, but that will come back. Most likely a block in the back by the Spartans.
Didn't see which Spartan did it, but I do know the Cougar was number 19, Trent Taylor. He was the one who ended up on the ground.
So the flag was thrown at the 45-yard line on the Spartan side of the field. So it negates a big-time return by Martino. Ball will now be placed at the 35 of Aurora's side of the field. 6:05 remaining in the first quarter. Cougars, after giving up an interception in the early minutes around their first drive and first play of their game, I should say, for the Cougars. Defense has stood tall. Only one play so far for the Spartans has drawn any big offensive catch, and that was the touchdown by Jaquay Cretin. And Swanson dumps it off to Cretin, a little screen. He has some room. He cuts back over the middle, goes to the outside. He's finally brought down by number 17, Charles Kirtley, after a big-time pickup. Spartans now enter CUC territory. Ball is placed at the 33-yard line.
Well, Cretin obviously showing off some speed and shiftiness there. You get him in the open field, as we saw there. He's about as good as gone. Big gain. A 32-yard play there for Cretin. The Cougars, they had to do a good job containing him if he gets out in the open field.
3 receivers to the right side. Swanson rolls out, finds a man in Madsen, makes the first man miss, makes the second guy miss. Then he's brought down at the 21 by number 53, Brandon Arredondo.
Looks like right now Aurora's game plan is just let their playmakers do their thing. We didn't see big completions to Madsen and Cretin on these last 2 plays, but then they got some big yards after catch thanks to their shiftiness and their natural offensive skills.
1st and 10 for the Spartans at the 21. Back-to-back first down plays for Aurora. Cougars show blitz at the line of scrimmage. They bring it. Swanson to his left, misses his receiver Trey Madsen low. They've really tried to get the ball to Trey Madsen. Now that's the 6th target of the game to the receiver, but he only has 1 catch for 4 yards.
A couple overthrows from his quarterback Swanson. Big reason for that. You just don't want those 2 to get something going, though, because they are a deadly duo when they are on the same page.
Madsen, the leading receiver for the Spartans, with 224 receiving yards. Swanson overthrows Madsen again. Some miscommunication on the route across the middle of the field. So it'll set up 3rd and 10 for Aurora on the 21 still.
Cougars, big stop coming up here if they can get it. Talk about how good their 3rd down defense has been. Ranked 4th in the nation, 13.6% allowed complete conversions coming into today's game. This is another big one right here.
Spartans 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far. 3 receivers to the left side. Swanson rolls out. Gets hit on the throw by Julian Ramirez to Jaquay Cretin. loses it through his hands. It'll be 4th and 10. Decision time for Don Beebe. They've already tried to go for it on 4th down earlier in the quarter. It looks like they'll bring out the field goal unit.
Another great series of plays from the front line for the Cougars. That was Ramirez getting in the backfield that time, just putting the pressure on Swanson, not allowing him any time to get comfortable and find his targets downfield. They've been doing it all game. They're going to have to keep doing it if they want to keep this Aurora team in check offensively.
So Matthew Hillick on to attempt the first field goal of the year for Aurora, and it goes wide left. So the Cougars defense stands tall as the field goal was hooked left by Hillick. So the Cougars defense comes up big again, Peter. Momentum really is carried for CUC by this defense. Now it's time for the offense to step up.
Looked like offensively, Cougars kind of figured things out last week against Finlandia. It was a good final tune-up before conference play started today. Now they just got to get back in that rhythm. Everything was kind of clicking against the Lions last week. They got to get back to those ways again.
Quarterback draw. Allers trying to get outside. He is brought down by number 13, Marcellus Romius.
This offensive line isn't doing the quarterback any favors right now, allowing a lot of pressure to get to Allers. He can't even scramble a little bit before he's already on the ground.
A loss of 5 on the play brings the Cougars back to the 15-yard line. 2nd and 15. 4:03 remaining in the first quarter. Cougars now at -9 net yards in this game offensively. Handoff to Gerald Crawford. A pickup of maybe 2 on the play. So it sets up 3rd and long for CUC, their longest 3rd down play of the game.
They keep going for short plays, short completions, runs up the middle, things that are getting a little bit of yardage if they work, but just aren't going anywhere in general. They got to start taking some bigger shots downfield, open up this offense, open up this defense as well, see if they can get any kind of lucky break.
Allers rolls right, couldn't find a man and just throws it out of bounds. A 3-and-out for CUC. Troy Prattley back onto the field with the punting unit. And this is a Spartans defense that, you talk about those deep plays. They run the nickel defense, so 5 DBs in their secondary, really not allowing anything to get behind them, but they haven't had to worry about that at all. As you mentioned, there's no big plays for CUC trying to push the ball downfield.
Cougars haven't even really challenged the secondary yet. Everything's up front. They got to start taking those shots, just feeling out the secondary at least, see if they can get any kind of break.
Martino has some room. Reverses field, heads back towards the CUC side, has the punter to beat, and Prattley able to get contact, but into the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans. James Martino, after a couple big returns in the punt game, able to take it 47 yards into the end zone for a touchdown.
Last game, Latino only 2 punt returns for a total of 15 yards. He's just about quadrupled that in that one play right there. Great use of space coming across the field before turning the corner and taking off down the sideline. And able to withstand that contact from a couple Cougars to stick it within the pylons.
The extra point is good for the Spartans. They now lead 14-0 with 2:56 remaining in the first quarter. Peter, let's take a look back at the punt return and look at what Martino saw on the field.
So you could see him coming towards the near sideline from the far sideline. Able to turn that corner, gets a good couple blocks from his fellow special teamers. And he's got some good speed, as you can see. So once he had that open sideline, he was good as gone to the end zone. Able able to stand up to the hit from Prattley and dive into the end zone.
Martino picks up the first special teams touchdown for the Spartans on the year. And coming into today, only averaged 5.5 yards per return in the first 2 games in the punt department. And today he picks up a touchdown on another big return.
Hey, Cougars special teams got to pick things up a little bit here if their offense is going to be punting that ball away a lot today, which so far they have been. They got to change that too. But if that's how things are going to be, you got to clean up your act a little bit. You can't allow big returns like that.
Austin wheel goes. Little pop shot. Ball hits the turf. And luckily, a Cougar was there to scoop it up. And taking a big hit was number 32, Jonathan Ongst. Spartans tried the pooch kick. They got the bounce back. And Ongst took a lick on that last kickoff.
Say, Aurora special teams, they're doing everything right now. They almost got that kick back. That would have been a really unfortunate break for the Cougars. And then, of course, before that, we saw the punt return for the touchdown.
Kason Perez was the one that hit Ongst. The Cougars now will start their drive at the 45-yard line. Best field position for the Cougars to start a drive so far in this game. Allers with a handoff to Bowler. Trying the jet sweep, gets knocked out on the Spartan side of the field. A pickup of about 3 on the play.
Something maybe a little different from the Cougars, able to gain some yards. But still, I want to see them challenge the secondary. We don't really know. We know it is a good group back there, but we don't know how they're going to play today yet because we haven't really seen the Cougars go there. We got to start taking some of those deeper throws, see what's going on in the back, see what's going on in the secondary, if there's any kind of lapse that you can exploit.
2nd and 7 for the Cougars. Covington in motion. Allers keeps it. Lowers the shoulder, picks up a good handful of yardage on the play. Tackle made by Giancarlo Margarejo.
Well, I'm liking the play calling a little better from the Cougars. Some more misdirection, some more bodies in motion, just trying to throw that Aurora defense off balance. But still, you know, they're still looking for their first down of the game. See if they can get it here just as they get into Spartans territory.
And the Spartans jump off sides. They brought the blitz. Flags fly on the play. As always, both teams pointing at each other, saying you jumped first.
I'm thinking, yeah, I was going to say, it looked like Aurora was the culprit on that one. So maybe not how the Cougars envisioned they'd get their first down of the day, but at this point they'll take it. Any kind of motion down the field.
First time the Cougars have had a fresh set of downs in this game, as you mentioned, Peter. The penalty moves the Cougars up to the 44-yard line. Another handoff to Bowler. Pick up about 1 on the play.
Cougars offensive staff, they like using Bowler in a lot of different situations. They only have 4 receptions for 46 yards on the season so far, but we've seen him in the backfield doing a lot of different stuff. We've seen him go downfield, try to get a big reception. I believe he had one in the Finlandia game to start things off, if my memory serves me correct. One of those freshmen Coach Lambert and the rest of his staff like experimenting with.
So a loss of 1 on the official mark. Allers tried to give a little quick pass to Dalton Bowler, but it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Number 42, Jared Pratt, was in on the play again, along with Otis Watts. So it'll be 3rd and long for the Cougars.
Not sure what Prattley was trying to do there. It almost looked like he pitched it off to Daniels, and then kind of in the same motion, he tried to do a little pass forward, off balance, weird mechanics, not what you want to see.
Cougars go for the screen, but Allers overthrows the receiver, Jordan White. So the Cougars will come off the field after picking up their first down of the day on a penalty. The offense stalls. The drive will end for the Cougars at the Aurora 44, under a minute to play in the first quarter. The Spartans will get the ball back.
Well, at least it was a bit of a step in the right direction for CUC. Got their first down of the day, even if it was off the Aurora penalty. But just to see them gain some kind of offense, better than what we've seen so far.
Martino fields it at the 10. Gets swallowed up around the 20 by a group of Cougars. Cougars in on the tackle, Ryan Ayers, as well as Brendan Baugh. The drive for the Spartans will start at the 20. 49 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Beginning of conference play for both of these teams. Both teams picking up their first win of the season in week 2. Spartans over Franklin College, Cougars over Finlandia University. Swanson sends a man to the other side of the line of scrimmage, and Duncan handed off to Cretan. Pickup of about 1 on the play. Making the tackle for CUC, number 53, Brandon Arredondo. Justin Aduo on the play as well. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the 22-yard line. Spartans hand it back to Cretan. Trayvon Thomas in on the tackle for CUC. And there's a player down for CUC. Able to get to his feet was Cleveland Tucker. It looked to be the final play of the first quarter. Spartans up 14-0 over the Cougars. A quarter highlighted by defensive play on both sides of the ball, and 2 big plays for the Spartans is the reason why they hold a 14-point lead over the Cougars. Second quarter of football coming to you on the Cougar Sports Network after the break.
Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics and football related. Click on sports and football to find rosters, schedule, stats, and more. Once again, that's CUCougars.com.
Spartans will open up the second quarter at their 23-yard line. They hand it off to Jaquay Cretan again. Pickup of about 1 on the play. So it'll be 4th and 6 for Aurora. But Peter, looking back at the first quarter stats, Spartans 81 yards of offense, Cougars -7. This is going to be a big time drive for CUC. The defense has done everything you could have asked them to do from the scouting report side of it, and now translating to the game, they have really limited the production of a team in Aurora that averaged 41 points per game last year.
Well, defense, they've really only given up 1 touchdown. That second one was on the special teams unit on the punt return touchdown. So, yeah, like you said, Carr, defense, they're doing everything they need to.
Covington with the fair catch at the 35-yard line. So the Cougars offense looks to start something up in the second quarter. Finn Owlers 2 for 7 in the air so far in this game, -4 yards. DeAndre Daniels, the leading rusher for CUC, with 5 carries for 12 yards. His longest rush of the game so far is only 5 yards.
Daniels is one of those players, we've seen it in both games so far this year. He kind of needs that one big play to get himself kick-started. We're still looking for it, but you figure once he gets a little bit of a break, he's going to start producing a bit more.
Daniels with a little wiggle room. Now picks up his largest run of the day of 6 yards. And the Cougars like to move the man in motion. You saw there they had Dalton Bowler go across the field, trying to get the defense a little bit out of sorts, move that secondary for Aurora, but it also allows Daniels to get a little bit more of a lane up the middle.
Well, using that space, that's what DeAndre Daniels is best at. He's quick, he's shifty, and he's a very strong player too. We saw a couple of stiff arms against Finlandia last week. So if that offensive line, if they can open up some holes with them, some of those man in motions, that's going to benefit him.
Daniels tripped up in the backfield by number 90, Joel Costin, the sophomore defensive end. So it brings back the Cougars about 3 yards on the play. They go to the 37-yard line. It'll be an official loss of 4. Cougars 0 for 5 so far on third downs in the game.
I got to pick up about 8 yards here, so you got to go, you got to at least get an 8-yard pass in, which I don't think we've really even seen the Cougars try yet today.
A quick drop-off pass to DeAndre Daniels. It hits the turf. An incomplete pass for the Cougars. Another 3 and out for CUC. And if you look right now at the receiving side of the game for CUC, DeAndre Daniels is the only Cougar that has a reception so far in this game.
He's got 2 for -4 yards at that.
So back to punt again is Troy Pratley.
And the Cougars, they have decent downfield option. Bowler's got some speed. We've seen Christian Covington make a couple of nice contested catches over his career. They have those receiving options. They're just choosing not to go with them right now, and they're doing these short little passes to Daniels. I think a big reason for that is because Allers has been under so much pressure from the Aurora defense. He doesn't have time to go downfield. So you got to let that offensive line step up a little bit or get Allers out of the pocket or do something so he can target those receivers downfield rather than having to quickly pitch it to Daniels or someone else near the line of scrimmage because he's under so much pressure.
A 28-yard punt from Troy Pratley, his 6th punt of the game, puts the Spartans at the 35-yard line in their side of the field. Swanson puts a man in motion. Little pitch outside, and having some space is Cam Moore, and Moore has no one in front of him. Goes down the sideline. Touchdown, Spartans.
Cougar down on the sideline too.
So a Cougar down as well. Looking like trying to make the tackle was number 27 Eric Wade.
So he was kind of hobbling off the field before he was able to finally hit the ground, getting attended to by the training staff.
A 65-yard touchdown for Cameron Moore. Makes it a 20-0 ball game. Matthew Heilich on for the extra point. So now the bigger issue too for CUC is when you have one of your better defensive backs down on the sideline right now. Heilich's extra point is good. But Eric Wade, the sophomore, was a big-time starter last year for CUC. Maybe we'll see him on the back end of the play. But, Peter, this is a big-time play for the Spartans, biggest play of the game.
Well, it's kind of like we saw on their first touchdown of the game. Just a little pitch along the line of scrimmage, and then you get some great blocks from his wide receivers. Credit this receiving unit for Aurora. They're doing a good job in the blocking front as well, giving those players from the backfield time to turn the corner, get up the sideline into the end zone. Again, this is the second touchdown we've seen like this today. This Aurora team, they do everything right, especially receiving-wise, which is what you'd expect when your head coach was an NFL wide receiver for 9 years.
Made appearances in 6 Super Bowls as well. But, Peter, even to go on to your point about the touchdowns, both of the touchdowns for the Spartans have come on similar plays. A little swing pass out to the outside to Jaquay Cretin, and then just letting their guys work as Cameron Moore picked up the touchdown, 65-yard reception. Spartans are going to kick it away.
Well, this is a big drive for the Cougars offense. We said that a couple of times now, but you can't let Aurora get too big a lead on you because they're just going to keep putting up points and points, and you do not want to play from that far behind this team.
Kadarian Sykes on the return, able to get a good amount of yardage. Gets pushed out around the Aurora 30. Official mark will be at the 27-yard line. So right now, let's go back to the box score. Looking again, DeAndre Daniels, the only Cougar with any receiving yards in this game. Also has 7 rushes for 14 yards. Cougars are trying everything right now, but again, that front line of defense for the Spartans has really given Allers no time to make any deep throws as well. As Covington goes in motion. First play of the drive, a handoff to DeAndre Daniels. He's brought down by 3 Spartans. First on the tackle is the sophomore Jalen Jordan.
Well, I'm not sure what it is, Carter, but the Cougars, they just got to try something different because all these little short plays they're trying to run, whether it's a pitch to the wing, whether it's a Daniels handoff, they're just not working. This front line for Aurora's defense is so good at getting into the backfield and disrupting any play. But again, Allers doesn't have much time in the backfield either because of how good the pressure is. So I'm not sure what the solution is right now, but Cougars and their staff, they got to figure it out.
4 seconds on the play clock for CUC. They get the snap away. Almost an interception for the Spartans. Jordan White on the reception, but there was almost an interception before as number 29, Ben Slackoff, read that screen pass outside very well, tried to jump the route.
They're just getting into the backfield. They're causing so much havoc for this Cougars offense. And sometimes it's not even against the Cougars O-line. It's just, on the wings, past the receivers and the tight ends. They're just getting back there. And like you said, Carl, they almost got a pick right there.
8-yard pickup by Jordan White sets up 3rd and 5 for CUC. Ball is tipped. Number 32 for the Spartans. Cole Tandy got a paw on it. Finn Allers took a nice hit after the throw as well. So another 3 and out for the Cougars. This Spartans defense is like an impenetrable wall right now. No chance for the Cougars to get anything going offensively. And right now, too, the defense has to go back out on the field. I mean, this is tough playing conditions right now, too. I mean, beginning of the season's always a little bit hotter on the turf as well. But there's not much time for the defense to get their breath right now.
No, and at this point, you kind of just hope they can hold on until they get to the locker room at halftime. Then you can make some big-time adjustments. But they still got over 10 minutes to go before we get there.
Martino able to make his way near the 50-yard line. Tackle made for CUC by number 45, Jelani Warner. So the Spartans will start on their own 49-yard line. Three receivers to the right. Swanson looks left to the single receiver side. Number 84, Cam Moore, in some tight coverage. Number 22, Cleveland Tucker, the 5'9" freshman, going up against the 6-foot senior. 2nd and 10 for Aurora. 10:41 remaining in the second quarter. 3 receivers again to the right for Aurora. Looking right is Swanson, goes deep, has a man. Number 14, Trey Matson, heads into the end zone. Touchdown, Aurora. A 51-yard touchdown to number 14, Trey Madsen. It was only a matter of time before Madsen was able to haul in a big-time play. Now his longest reception of the season puts the Spartans up 27-0 before the point after attempt.
Madsen came into the game 5 touchdowns on the year. That leads the Spartans in that receiving category. And yeah, I mean, he just broke away. That was a wide open pass from Swanson. Like I said earlier, you figured it was just a matter of time before those two got their connection going.
Point after attempt, good. Let's take a look back at the replay. And it just looked like the crossing route, and then able to sneak around to the outside was Madsen. He started off in the slot on that play, and just the breakdown and coverage by the Cougars defense allowed for a 51-yard touchdown to Trey Madsen. We're gonna step aside for a quick break. 28-0 the score in River Forest. Spartans up over the Cougars. The Spartans getting ready to kick it away after the 51-yard touchdown pass from Josh Swanson to Trey Madsen. Darian Sykes back for the Cougars. They'll kick it over to the far side to number 17, Charles Kirtley, who calls for the fair catch.
Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content like interviews and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for just $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. We'd like to thank Jackson Spurgeon and Sherilyn Straczynski for becoming our new members on the channel. Once again, that's CUC Sports on YouTube. $5 a month. You can become a member. Check it out today.
Cougars will open it up at the 25-yard line. A handoff to DeAndre Daniels, able to avoid a tackle before being pushed out of bounds by number 2, Ernesto Ramirez.
No. Offensively, the Cougars, they've held onto the ball for the majority of the game, just under 12.5 minutes compared to Aurora, who's just under 7 minutes. But you almost want them to take even more time off the clock, give this defense a breather, because they look like they're just getting worn out right now. Especially on that last touchdown to Madsen, he just absolutely cooked any CUC defender.
Another handoff for CUC. This time they give it off to number 18, Blake Henson, the freshman wide receiver from Potosi, Missouri.
Well, you're seeing a little different personnel get in there for the Cougars, try to change things up, get something going at least.
A 1-yard pickup on the play makes it 3rd and 10 for CUC. Spartans showing blitz. They bring it. Allers able to avoid initial pressure, gets past the line of scrimmage. Picks up about 2. And the reason why we saw Blake Henson come in to carry it is because DeAndre Daniels right now is currently being attended to by the training staff. So a big-time concern right now for the Cougars offense that hasn't really been able to get anything going already. Now with your playmaker being checked out by the training staff, hopefully he's all right and can make a return to the game. But the punt unit comes back out again for CUC. This will be the 8th punt of the game for Troy Prattley. A line drive punt that has some roll. Martino able to pick up a good amount of yardage. Tackle made by number 25, Rashad Benson, the freshman from Lithia Springs, Georgia.
Well, going back to your point about Daniels, he's taken a lot of punishment for the Cougars over the past, season and 2 games. He's carried the ball over 190 times so far in his Cougar career, and that's, excluding a couple games he's already missed to injury last season. So he's carrying that pigskin a lot, and he's getting tackled a lot as well.
Bunch formation for the Spartans. And snap goes, no whistle. Martin Egbo jumped off sides. Both teams were staring at each other as if there was going to be a flag thrown, but instead it is a big-time pickup for the Spartans.
Interesting series of events there. It looked like there's going to be a flag called, and saw some of the Cougars' defensive players just kind of standing around waiting for it, and some of the other ones saying, hey, get back on the line. We're still going. Aurora, they caught on to that. They got that play off really quick, caught the Cougars while they were, thinking things over.
Jaquay Cretin on the reception. Swanson pump fakes, able to get another first down. Pass hauled in by number 15, Michael Bolin. So back-to-back first downs for the Spartans.
Well, after a bit of a slow start, Swanson, he's really finding his groove now. 7 for 17, still not a great completion rate, but 188 yards for 3 touchdowns.
Well, we look at, too, what Swanson started at, 1 for 7 in the first quarter before they started to get things going offensively. Ball is placed at the 29-yard line. Swanson looks left, airs it out, has his May Manson into the end zone again. Touchdown, Spartans.
Well, it just feels automatic now for Swanson. He's seeing the field really well, finding those receivers. And again, I think the Aurora receivers, they're really feasting on the fact that the Cougars defense, they're probably tired at this point. They've been on the field a lot. They've been running downfield a lot too, trying to catch these speedy Spartan receivers, and they're just not able to do it. There's been a lot of separation between some Spartans and their coverage guys.
So a 29-yard touchdown reception to Trey Madsen. His 7th touchdown of the year, has a 51-yard reception on the previous drive, and now hauls in a 29-yard touchdown. Take a look back at the replay. A nice out route from Madsen downfield, but Swanson was looking for his number 1 receiver the entire time.
That Swanson-Madsen connection, like I said, it's almost automatic at this point. Madsen's got good speed, good separation ability. All Swanson needs to do is buy himself a little time, and his main guy is going to be open to hit downfield for what have been 2 pretty relatively easy scores.
Madsen, 4 receptions, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caps off another drive for the Spartans. A 3-play drive that totaled 53 yards, only a minute 10 in time of possession for Aurora. Cougars still looking for their big play to jumpstart their offense. Only 2 yards of net offense so far today. The ball falls off the tee. So number 26, Aeneas Gray, was going to hold the ball for the kicker. But it stays on the tee as of now. And it falls off again. So 3rd time's the charm. Gray will make his way back to the tee. Austin wheel goes. Checks both sides. A high kick over to Kirtley. Another fair catch for the Cougars. So they'll get good field position to start again. But as of right now, for the Cougars, 7 3-and-outs so far in the game. The only drive that has not ended with a punt was their first drive, and on the first play, the interception that was thrown by Allers to Ernesto Ramirez.
Well, again, I think the game plan right now is, get into the locker room, settle down, take a breath, and figure out something new to try. But, again, you got 7 minutes still in the first half.
Henson gets the pitch from Allers. Pickup of a couple yards on the play. So Henson looks to be the guy that will take a majority of the carries for CUC after DeAndre Daniels on the last drive came out. Still no sign of Daniels on the sideline. A pickup of 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line for the Cougars.
So there's Daniels at the end of the sideline. He's got his helmet off. So good sign he's not being treated by the training staff anymore.
So misdirection. Henson able to cut it back up the middle. A gain of about 6 on the play. It'll be 3rd and short for CUC.
I think the Cougars like what they've seen out of Henson so far this season. He's, obviously not the biggest of players, but he's got some speed to him. He's got some good acceleration, and he's really, really shifty. He's been finding some good opportunities here today. So if they're able to get another first down here, this will be really big for the offense.
3rd and 2 for the Cougars. Allers takes it himself. Ball pops out in the backfield. Spartans have it. Spartans with the takeaway. Allers was making his way to the first down marker, and then a Spartan defender popped it out. Otis Watts picked up the fumble after forcing it as well. So the Spartans with some nice field position, 5:53, I should say, remaining in the second quarter. Spartans will start their drive on the CUC 27. Swanson looks right, has a man, picked off. Cougars with the interception. Going across the field, number 26, BJ Pitts. Pitts has some room. A flag flies and he steps out of bounds at the 40, but a big-time takeaway for the Cougars. There are 2 flags on the play. The side judge threw his flag and his hat.
You got to get something out there, I guess.
Just from what they're talking about, most likely a block in the back, but I also think that the Cougars might get called for the celebration. Some of the players from the sideline on the field. The interception was by number 26, BJ Pitts.
So I do think you're right, Carter. There's definitely some kind of block or hold maybe. Because Pitts had a lot of space to get across the field and still get up the sideline really quick.
So 2 penalties, only 1 against the Cougars. It was a blindside block and then unsportsmanlike conduct on Aurora. Take a look back at the replay, the interception by BJ Pitts.
It's a great read there by Pitts. I think he saw it all the way. They're trying to make out where the blindside block is. Good turn of events here for CUC, though. Got a big takeaway after they gave up the fumble on the drive beforehand, so now they got to make something out of this.
So the Cougars will start the drive at the 42-yard line after the takeaway from BJ Pitts. First takeaway for CUC of the game. So 2 penalties on the play. They offset. CUC trying to make something after the defense comes up again. Covington in motion. They give it out to Covington. A big hit from number 35, Connor Nordmeyer. Able to hold down Covington at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play.
I know there wasn't a gain, but I do like how Covington, I've said it all season, he's a big body receiver. He's able to stay up and tank some of these hits. We saw it there, stayed up on his feet, probably a little longer than he should have. I like to see him give him the ball a couple more times and see what he can do.
10 seconds on the play clock for CUC, 2nd and 10. They hand it off to Henson. He gets to the line of scrimmage before being pushed back by the Spartans front line. Number 95, Isaiah Perrin. Able to stop Henson for no gain, 3rd and 10. 4:32 remaining in the second quarter. Cougars trying to avoid another 3 and out after the takeaway from BJ Pitts on the interception. Cougars 0 for 9 on 3rd downs today. 2 receivers to the left. They hand it off to Henson. Tries to bounce it outside. Picks up a handful of yardage, but won't be enough for the first down.
I'm trying to. Henson's taking his time getting up.
So now Blake Henson, the running back that came in to replace DeAndre Daniels, is down on the turf. 3:56 remaining in the second quarter. Henson was able to get outside on the rush, but then took a big hit from James Shacknell.
You can still see Daniels on the end of the Cougars sideline. Still got his helmet off, so I'm wondering what his availability is now that Henson might be needing a timeout.
Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button to become a member. If you don't want to become a member at this time, you can donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department to continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thanks button on any video. We sincerely thank you for your support and watching the Cougar Sports Network. So Henson able to come off the field. He heads to the training table to be checked out by the training staff. Another punt from Troy Prattley goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line on the Spartan side of the field. The official mark will be at the 20. So 3:43 remaining in the first half. Peter, Spartans with 2 timeouts, still a lot of time left on the clock. But what we're seeing right now from the Spartans too, that first play is the biggest deciding factor of the drive. They really like their first down plays. That's where they've gotten a lot of their yardage.
Well, you've said it at the top of the broadcast. This is a very quick Aurora team. Again, you look at time of possession, Cougars really doing a good job dominating that category over twice the amount of minutes as the Spartans on offense. But, man, the Spartans, they get on the field, they're efficient, they get their points quick, and then they get their offense off the field, let their defense do their thing then.
Quick pass to the right side to Trey Madsen. Makes his way close to the first down marker, a pickup of 9 on the play. Peter, another thing too, the Cougars defense has been beat a couple times on big plays. There have been 4 passes from Swanson of more than 15 yards. Of those 4 passes, 177 passing yards have been gained for the Spartans. On the 2nd and 1 play, they go back to Trey Madsen. The tackle made by number 26, BJ Pitts. A new set of down for the Spartans.
Well, and it's interesting. You look at the 4 touchdown drives from the Spartans. 1 play for the first touchdown, 1 play for the second touchdown, 2 for the third, and then 3 plays for the fourth. So again, they're going out there, they're scoring quick, and they're doing it in a really efficient manner.
Cougars try to bring the blitz. The ball is knocked away. In on the coverage for the Cougars was number 22, Cleveland Tucker, able to knock it out of the grasp of Cam Moore. It'll be 2nd and 10, 2:42 remaining in the first half. 3 receivers to the far side for the Spartans. Swanson looks to the single receiver side. A nice catch by number 6, Ty Pruitt. Pruitt, a 6'2 sophomore, going up and over Cleveland Tucker, the 5'9 freshman. A good ball from Swanson to the boundary.
Well, like you said, Pruitt had the height advantage there, so good job by Swanson to put that ball up and let Pruitt go above the rim for it. And these receivers, they're doing everything right. They're using their height advantage. They're using their speed advantage. They're pulling out all the tricks in their bag today.
1st and 10 from the 35. A screen for CUC. A big-time tackle from Brandon Arredondo. If Arredondo doesn't make that tackle, that's probably another touchdown for the Spartans. Jaquay Cretin came up a little bit limping after the tackle. He's still in the ball game for Aurora.
Well, Cretin, he's coming off that 132-yard performance against Franklin last week. Only 7 yards rushing on 5 attempts. Cougars doing a good job containing him there. But 59 receiving yards and that touchdown that kicked off the scoring today.
2nd and 5. Swanson with time. Looking left, drops it down short to the running back again, who picks up the first down. You talk about it too. This is a team right now for Aurora when the Cougars have to worry about guys like Trey Madsen, Cam Moore on the outside. When they start playing deep, it's very easy for Swanson to dump it down low to Cretin in the flat.
Well, Cretin kind of reminds me a little bit of DeAndre Daniels. He's not that big a guy, but he's quick, he's shifty, and he's strong. Like you said, he's that good mid-range target for when those deep options aren't available.
The pass from Swanson hauled in by Cam Moore. A good pickup on the play. 1:14 remaining in the second quarter. The Spartans will call their second timeout. So the Spartans with 2nd and 4, ball on the CUC 16, up 35-0, trying to punch it in before halftime at Concordia. Cougars trying to make a last stand in the first half. We'll take a break and step aside. You're watching the Cougars Sports Network. Second and 4 for the Spartans. After the 6-yard pass hauled in by Cam Moore. Play action for the Spartans. Swanson with time, dumps it short to number 23, James Martino. Tackle made by Trayvon Thomas. Haven't said his name as much in this game as we did last week, but still a big part of that defense for CUC.
Thomas, a sophomore out of Florida, was a big part of this team last season. He's doing it again this year.
Another pass from Swanson to Madsen for a first down. Tackled at the 5-yard line. Aurora quickly gets to the ball, and a spike from Swanson. So preserving the timeout, the clock did not stop at the right time after the spike, so time will be added back to the scoreboard. So 41 seconds on the game clock for the Spartans. A lot of time, a lot of options for a team, as we talked about, Peter, a high-scoring offense, averaging over 40 points a game every season since Don Beebe has been at the helm of the program. Cougars now take their first time out of the game to go to the chalkboard and draw up a defensive scheme.
Well, like you said, going back to Coach Beebe with Aurora, he's done a great job turning this team into a NAC powerhouse. Again, 18-0 in the conference since he took over, 3-time NAC champions, 2 NCAA tournaments. They didn't win either of their first games, but still got there, which is something in its own. First season, he was the North Region Coach of the Year for D3Football.com and NAC Coach of the Year. He was also NAC champion and Coach of the Year last season as well. He's done some really good stuff with those Aurora team, especially offensively. You know, before he got there, they were averaging about 24 points a game, and then in his first season, he nearly doubled that. So this is a great coaching staff with a lot of talent, and those two put together is just a recipe for success.
Second and goal for the Spartans. Man in motion. Swanson looks left. Has a man in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans.
Bolin.
Michael Bolin on the catch. Another score for Aurora, up 41-0. Before the point after attempt. Heilich ready. Point after attempt good. Caps off an 11-play, 80-yard drive for the Spartans that took 3 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock. 38 seconds remaining for the Cougars to get something going in the first half. A 5-yard pass hauled in for Michael Bolin. Bolin, only his second reception of the game, now has 16 yards and a touchdown.
I mean, you look at all the weapons that Aurora has receiving-wise. Madsen, he's a 5'10", 190 senior. Moore, 6 foot 195 senior. Then Bolin, also 6 foot 195 and a senior. This is a good veteran squad in the receiving core, and they're doing their thing today in almost every aspect. Separation, one-on-one catches, using time and space. They're just doing everything right today, and Cougars defense is struggling to keep up because of it.
Swanson now 19 for 31, 321 yards through the air with 5 touchdowns. Wheel goes kickoff to Charles Curtly again, calls for the fair catch. Cougars will get the ball at the 25-yard line. 36 seconds remaining in the half. Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics and football. Click Sports and Football in the drop-down menu to find rosters, schedule, stats, and more. Cougars offense heads back out onto the field. 16 yards of net offense so far in the game. 8 yards through the air, 8 yards through the air, I should say, and then 8 on the ground. They hand it off to Gerald Crawford.
Well, I think they're largely just going to try
Excuse me, sorry, I should say Jordan Garcia.
I think they're largely just going to try and run the clock out, get to the halftime, as it looks like they're walking off the field right as I said that. Would have liked to see him maybe try some different things. You know, you got a little bit of time left, see what works, see what you can bring out in the second half. But I think instead they're going to go to this half. They're going to go locker room and try and figure things out here.
Well, before the team heads to the locker room, Andy Lambert has brought all of the Cougars from the sideline to a huddle, having a little talk before they head into the locker room. Spartans up 42-0 over the Cougars at halftime. Some halftime entertainment to come from Concordia Stadium. Both teams will be back in action in a quick 20 minutes, I should say. Again, Spartans up 42-0 over the Cougars. We'll have more action for you on the Cougar Sports Network after the halftime break here in River Forest. Welcome back to River Forest as the Aurora University Spartans currently lead the Concordia University Chicago Cougars 42-0 as we come out from the halftime break. Peter, first half dominated by the Spartans. Both teams had slow starts, but then again, the Spartans 331 yards of offense.
Spartans doing everything right now on the ball, especially passing-wise. Josh Swanson looks absolutely automatic in quarterback now that he's kind of settled in after a rough start. 19 for 31, 321 yards already, 5 touchdowns, and an interception. That connection between him and Trey Madsen has been electric so far today. Madsen's already got 125 receiving yards on the game as well.
Cougars will receive the second half kickoff that goes into the end zone for a touchback. So for the Cougars, the first half, only 18 yards of offense. You weren't able to get anything going with DeAndre Daniels, and so you had to go to Blake Henson, who is not in the game right now. He did get hurt, and so you go to Jordan Garcia, too. There is just, right now, the identity for this Cougars team, which was the rush game, is not there. The passing game is not there right now. What does this team need to do to find some sort of second half identity, Peter?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that one out myself, Carter. I think this offensive line, I think they really got to step up. A big reason the Cougars haven't been getting going passing-wise is because Allers has been under so much pressure all game. If his front five can give him a little bit of support, give him some time to make those reads downfield, they might get something going here.
So Jordan Garcia into the game. Tackle made by number 42, Jared Pratt. Garcia, a sophomore running back from West Chicago, Illinois. His second carry of the game. Pickup of 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line.
So a little bit of Garcia last week against Finlandia. 1 attempt rushing, 10-yard gain out of it. So he's got a little bit of game experience at least.
The Cougars try to get it out to Dalton Bowler. Jared Pratt again on the play. We've said his name a lot already so far. He has 4 tackles on the game, 1 for a loss. Now his second pass breakup makes it 3rd and 8 for CUC.
Pratt's a big body out there, stands 6'3", 275. Just an absolute wrecking ball of a defender, disrupting everything the offense tries to get going.
3 receivers to the left side. Allers able to get it to number 3, Devin Bledsoe. The first 3rd down conversion of the day for the Cougars. Moves the chains and gives them a new set of downs. And looking at the drive sheet right now, Peter, that is the first time in this game since the first quarter the Cougars have extended a drive past the first set of downs.
Well, they're trying to just figure something out. That's something else we can say about them, trying different things, is get Allers moving more, get him out of that pocket, that give him a little bit more time to find that passing option. We saw it there for Bledsoe.
They try to get it out to Garcia in the flat. But also, too, the passing game for the Cougars have changed. Last week we saw them able to drop back a little bit more, have some time in the pocket, but the Spartans are bringing a continuous rush that is really giving the Cougars linemen a hard time at trying to slow it down. So there's no time for Allers to really look down the field. We're talking 2 seconds, ball has to be out of the hand.
Well, that's when you got to send some receivers across the middle, maybe 5 yards up the line of scrimmage. Some quick throw options for Allers to, give him that quick option so he's not down on the ground looking for a target.
2nd and 10, they hand it off to Garcia. A good pickup by the 5-foot running back of about 6 yards. Ball marked at the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 4 for CUC. Able to pick up their first 3rd down conversion on the 13-yard pass to Devin Bledsoe on the drive. Cougars still not in formation. 9 seconds on the play clock. Now the Cougars are on the ball. Covington in motion. And now a timeout called by the Cougars. First timeout used by Andy Lambert in the second half. An early timeout. But so far, this second half drive for the Cougars seems to be a little bit different than what we saw in the first half. There were some adjustments made in the locker room.
Well, 5 plays, 21 yards so far on the drive. You know, they just look a little bit snappier, a little bit cleaner. They're getting the ball out of Aller's hands a little quicker, and they're doing it downfield. You know, not super downfield, but they're not using as many plays in the backfield behind or at the line of scrimmage. And, I mean, like the stats say, it's working. 5 plays, 21 yards. This is the most they've advanced on a drive all game in terms of yards gained. And so, like you said, Carter, they made some second half adjustments in the locker room, and they're coming to fruition right now.
So the Cougars out of the timeout have 2 receivers to the far side. Single receiver near their own sideline. Jordan White line to the right side of the line. Quick pass outside to Bledsoe. Has some room, escapes a tackle, and has a man to beat down the sideline. Stays in bounds and tumbles down at the 10. A big-time pickup for Devin Bledsoe on the outside.
Well, like I said a couple times throughout the game, I wanted the Cougars to use their receivers a little more. Bledsoe's one of those guys. He's a speedy guy, especially once he does get that ball in his hands. We saw it come there. He's moving down the sideline. So guys like him and Christian Covington, they're a big reason this Cougars offense can get back into the swing of things if they do. Bledsoe, he's been having a big drive so far.
They pitch it out to Garcia, almost loses it. Holds on to the football with his helmet. Gets knocked back a couple yards. The biggest play of the day for the Cougars. Coming after a Devin Bledsoe reception. Broke a tackle, avoided another. Got the Cougars deep into the Spartans' side of the field. First time we've seen them down in the red zone in this game.
Well, Bledsoe now leads the Cougars in receiving yards with 57.
Allers rolls right. Covington hit by number 5, Quinn Davis. Good time up by the defensive back. Made contact right as Covington was able to get a finger on the ball. It'll be 3rd and 14. Or 3rd and goal after the loss of 4 on the rush from Jordan Garcia on the first play from inside the red zone. Allers looks right, lofts it up into the corner to Covington,
Flag
and
down.
out of reach. A flag on the play. So Cougars catch a break, roughing the passer called on Aurora. So a new set of downs for the Cougars. Only the 4th penalty of the game on the Spartans.
Well, this is where you got to capitalize. Good teams like Aurora usually don't make mistakes like that, but when they do, you got to take advantage of it, especially this far into the red zone.
A handoff to number 88, Dalton Bowler. Loses a yard on the play. Gets knocked back to the 9-yard line. Cougars trying to punch it in for the first time all game. A first half that saw very little offense, but this drive to open up the second half has proved that the Cougars made adjustments that have found holes in the Spartans' defense. Covington and Bledsoe to the far side. Bowler in motion. They hand it off to Garcia, who tries to cut it back up the middle. But the tackle is made by number 13, Marcellus Romias.
Well, Cougars kind of going away from what was working on this drive right now, which were those quick passes, a couple yards downfield, and then let your playmakers do their thing in open field play. Now they're just trying to run it up a gut, do a little bit too much in the backfield again. Third down. I'd like to see him, obviously make a pass here.
Longest drive of the day for CUC, the 10th play. Already amassed 66 yards. Allers to the corner to Covington. Covington almost with a one-handed catch, and now a flag comes in. Looks like pass interference will be called. In on the coverage for the Spartans, number 5, Quinn Davis, the junior cornerback. So another penalty on third down gives the Cougars a new set of downs. Ball is placed at the 2-yard line.
Well, Cougars catching some big breaks here in the red zone. Not often you'll see Aurora make 2 mistakes like that, back-to-back almost. Now you got to punch this in. You've given 2 new sets of downs, basically.
Intercepted at the goal line. The Spartans are taking it back. Marcellus Romias down the sideline. Has Allers to beat, and he will go all the way. Touchdown, Spartans. An interception right at the goal line. The Spartans take it to the house and make it a 48-0 ball game.
Well, I mentioned that what was working were those quick passes from the Cougars, get it out before that lethal defensive line for Aurora has a chance to do anything, but that one looked a little too quick. I don't know if Allers was exactly sure of his surroundings right then.
A 100-yard interception for a touchdown. The point after attempt is good. We'll take a look back at the replay. With just a lot of commotion around the line of scrimmage in the box, Peter, Allers tried to thread the needle, and it was picked off by Marcellus Romias.
Well, that's what happens when you try to pass it so close to the end zone, is that, the defense can just kind of stack the box, create a lot of bodies right there, and all it takes is for one of them, like we saw Romias do, to get his hands up and get some paws on that ball. And able to return it all the way back to the house.
Third turnover of the day for the Cougars, the second interception by Finn Allers. Leads to a pick 6 for the Spartans. Up 49-0 with 10:02 remaining in the third quarter. A drive for the Cougars with 11 plays, the longest of the game for CUC. 73 yards, took almost 5 minutes off the clock after a couple third down penalties by the Spartans. A pass interference penalty, and they try to throw it again, and then a pick 6 by Aurora.
Well, besides that, drive-killing interception at the end, I do like the offensive momentum from the Cougars overall. Able to finally move the chains regularly. Like you said, Carter got a couple lucky breaks from Aurora penalties, but this is the first time really all day we've seen this offense be continuously productive. And I talked about in the pregame show, that's what they needed to do coming in today, was just have this, fluid and continuous motion of offense. Just keep putting points up on the board regularly, and we started to see it there. If they just clean up that end zone play, they'll probably get their first touchdown of the day.
So the Cougars will head back out on the field at the 25-yard line to try to restart the offense. Two receivers each side for Allers. Garcia in the backfield, and flags fly on the play. Delay of game called on the Cougars. Will make it 1st and 15. Last year, the Cougars traveled to Aurora and lost 70-0 to make it 7 straight wins in a row for the Spartans over the Cougars. The Cougars hand it off to number 14, Nate Speed II. And now a player is down on the turf for CUC. It looks to be the center, Amir Kavik, the senior from Des Plaines, Illinois, slow to get up from the turf.
Kavik showing a little frustration on the ground. He's, the senior leader of a really young offensive line. Center plays such an integral part of the offense as a whole, but then again, when, like I said, you're one of the leaders of that line, it's frustrating if you're gonna have to leave the game.
So now taking snaps on the sideline is the left guard, Jalen Franklin, the sophomore from New Orleans, Louisiana. Will shift over to the center position. And you talk about some big-time names that have already gone down for CUC already as Kavik walks off the field in his own power. DeAndre Daniels hurt, not in the game. We also saw Blake Henson leave the game as well. But now when you lose, as you mentioned, the leader of a young offensive line corps in your center, Amir Kavik, hopefully he can make a return to the game and still be that backbone from the front line, or the offensive line, I should say, just to try to keep that control and composure. As you mentioned, a young offensive line corps.
I mean, even past this game, you hope, if he has to sit out the rest of the game, that's fine, but you just hope he can come back for, next week's matchup and continue to be that leader.
Allers on the quarterback keeper, picks up about 2 yards. Hasn't had much success on the ground today. Prior to that carry, he had negative 14 yards. It'll be 3rd and 13 for the Cougars after the 2-yard gain by Allers. Rolls right, intended for Bledsoe, bounces on the turf. It'll be 4th and long for CUC.
I think this is something, and he's still a sophomore, this is his first 3 career starts, but that's something I'd like to see Allers improve on as the season goes along for future seasons is, kind of improvising. I think he likes to go with that first read a lot, and whether it's there or not, that's where he's putting it. But especially on these rollouts that we've seen him do a couple times, be okay with improvising and looking for those 2nd and 3rd options rather than just trying to force it where he really wants it to go.
Prattley back to punt it away for the 10th time in this game. Takes a couple bounces before rolling out of bounds at the Spartan 40-yard line. So coming onto the field is the Spartans offense led by their senior quarterback, Josh Swanson, who's having a heck of a game right now. 321 yards of offense through the air, 5 touchdowns. And again, 331 yards of offense for this Spartans team, only 10 on the ground, just shows how well Swanson's playing after his slow start.
Well, came into the game with 612 yards, so he's got over half that in this game alone.
A handoff to Jaquay Cretin. Pickup of 4 on the play. Cretin has had himself a good game as well, but he's mostly got it done in the receiving department. That is only his 7th carry of the game for 11 yards. Cretin has hauled in 5 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. 2nd and 6 for Aurora on the 44-yard line. They hand it off to Cretin again. making a tackle in the backfield is the junior defensive end, Martin Egbo.
Good job by Egbo to lock up Crete and bring him down. Like you said, Carter, he's still struggling to get it going on the ground. This is coming off a game where he had 132 yards last week against Franklin, but I don't think he's really bothered by it when he's put up 72 yards and a touchdown through the air.
3rd and long for the Spartans. 3 receivers to the right side. Single man, Ty Pruitt to the boundary. Pass is low, intended for number 23, James Martino. Martino had a punt return for a touchdown. The punt unit now comes onto the field for the Spartans. It'll be the 4th punt for Kevin Landa. Christian Covington all the way back at the 15-yard line. Maybe the Cougars can get some special teams help to get on the board. And they do, a blocked punt. Ball is rolling on the turf. Picked up by number 53, Brandon Arredondo.
It was a high snap, and, Aurora punter, he had to go up for it to bring it down. That gave Arredondo just enough time to get in the backfield, get a big hand on it. That was a loud block, too. We could hear it all the way up here in the booth. Right as he said they needed some special teams help, Carter, asking, you shall receive.
Brandon Arredondo gets a paw on the punt. Now the Cougars sit at the 14-yard line.
Say Dylan Regnier Yamnik listed as the long snapper for Aurora. It was a bit of a floater to Landa, and he had to go up, bring it down.
Now the ball is muffed after the snap. Aller's trying to get on it. The Spartans say they have it, but the official, Peter Blair, says the Cougars were able to jump back on the ball. Nate Speed, the second, picked it up at the 30-yard line. A loss of 16 on the play for the Cougars, now back at the 30-yard line. 2nd and goal.
Killed a little bit of momentum after that big blocked punt.
Should I say it's 2nd and 26. Quarterback draw, Allers gets met at the line of scrimmage and thrown down by number 42, Jared Pratt. Some extracurricular after the play. First in on the tackle was number 99, Jalen Jordan.
I think that's Troy Prattley at quarterback now, number 5.
So number 5, Troy Prattley into the ball game. A quick sub by Andy Lambert, the head coach, to put in Troy Prattley, who made a couple appearances last week against Finlandia, the sophomore from St. Joseph, Michigan, into the ball game.
3 for 3, 35 yards and a touchdown last weekend against Finlandia.
Prattley rolls left, gets it up to Bledsoe, avoids a tackle, spinning around and finally brought down inside the 10-yard line. Cuts away at a big-time 2nd and 26 and makes it a manageable 3rd and short.
It's a great play there by Prattley. Just put it above the hands of the Aurora defender and then gave it to his 6'3" receiver, Bledsoe, who's coming off the field now. Bledsoe did a good job staying on his feet and rolling forward. Might have tweaked something while doing that. That was a lot of contact he was going up against.
So now it's 4th and 3rd. Going in motion is Nate Speed, the second. Prattley pulls it down, goes to the left, looks for the end zone and finds it. Touchdown, Cougars! Troy Prattley rushes it in from 7 yards out. The Cougars are on the board.
Well, that's what you get with Prattley. He's great on his feet. We saw it on that rollout to the completion with Bledsoe.
And then we saw it there on that scramble. Good job finding the open hole in the offensive line and just scampering his way into the end zone.
Ryan Auer on for the point after attempt. A line drive kick in for the extra point. Cougars now trail 49-7. Look back at the replay. Peter, you talked about that vision that Pratley had, and he used his feet to score it for the first time for CUC.
See, you saw him looking around trying to find that pass, but as soon as he saw that open hole in front of him, pulled the ball down, just took off. He's small and elusive, so it's hard to bring him down once he kind of gets his feet under him. So great field awareness from Pratley, good speed. Wasn't concerned about getting the passing touchdown in, just wanted that first down at least. Ended up turning it into a touchdown too.
So the block punt from Brandon Arredondo leads to a 4-play, 14-yard scoring drive for CUC, capped off by Troy Pratley rushing it in from 7 yards out. Took a minute 56 off the clock, 5:33 remaining in the third quarter. Auer ready to kick it away. A short kick. The fair catch from Aurora. Making the catch for the Spartan. Number 25, Martin Millon. The freshman from Lamont, Illinois. So the ball will be placed at the 30-yard line for the Spartans. Two receivers to the far side. A handoff in the backfield to Jaquay Cretin. Lowers the shoulder. Met right at the marker by number 8, Brendan Baugh. Just enough to get the first down.
Did a good job by Cretin, stay on his feet. Took a couple hand slaps, it looked like, try to bring him down, but able to keep moving forward. And then, yeah, like you said, Carter, lowered that shoulder.
A pickup of 10 on the play. Cretin now with 17 yards on the ground. They hand it off to Cretin again. Tripped up by his own shoelace before getting hit by number 41, Marcus Overstreet. Pickup of 1. 2nd and 9 at the 41-yard line. High snap, hauled down by Swanson, and the Cougars defense answers again. Overstreet on the tackle in back-to-back plays.
Well, it's kind of like while we saw the Cougars defense come out hot at the beginning of the game after they got some time to cool off and take a breather in the locker room. They've come out firing on all cylinders again. They look really good right now. Big third down coming up here.
3rd and 10 for the Spartans, 1 for 7 today on third down attempts. They go short, and a big hit on the play by number 44, Trayvon Thomas. Breaks up the pass intended for Jaquay Cretin. The defense for the Cougars puts a big stop together. Spartans back out to punt it away.
Cougars, they were all over that drive, always going right after the ball no matter who had it. It's a great job there.
The 4th 3-and-out of the day for the Spartans. A high punt, beautiful punt that rolls all the way into the end zone. That's some front roll. Kevin Londa, his best punt of the day. Flips the field. Cougars will have the ball at the 20-yard line.
fans, one more reminder, you can head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics related, like the CUC football team. All you got to do is click on sports and whatever team you're trying to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Once again, you can find all this at CUCougars.com.
3:38 remaining in the third quarter. Cougars, after putting together a scoring drive after a special teams effort. Troy Prattley back on the field for the Cougars. Gets a quick pass out to Nate Speed that's outside of his grasp. Nate Speed the second, a sophomore from Douglasville, Georgia. It'll be 2nd and 10 for CUC. Spartans defense has been tough all day. The only lapse has been that last drive. And the drive that also saw a little bit of the interception too from Finn Allers, but the Spartans were able to take it back and score on the 100-yard pick six. They're able to hold up the rush from Jordan Garcia for no gain and make it 3rd and long.
Cougars obviously had something going on that last drive offensively. Now they got Troy Prattley back in. See if he can continue his good play. Again, it was his scramble and rush that led to their first touchdown of the day.
8 seconds on the play clock. Cougars still getting lined up. And now Andy Lambert will burn another timeout to avoid a delay of game penalty. 2:51 remaining in the third quarter. Cougars use their second timeout, down 49-7, facing 3rd and 10 when we return from River Forest on the Cougars Sports Network. Coming out of the timeout, the Cougars. 2 receivers each side. Prattley throws it deep. Bledsoe has to back up, makes the catch, and a flag flies. Could potentially be offensive pass interference.
So the Aurora.
It's what the defensive back, Ben Slatkoff, signals in his opinion. Currently, the ball lays at the 43-yard line. But instead, it goes against the defense.
So Slatkoff, the one calling for it. Got a replay coming up. But what a move by Bledsoe.
Never mind, on the replay, but when we talk about it, so what a play by Bledsoe. He would have cut back really quick and catch that ball moving backwards. I mean, that was an impressive play.
Prattley tucks it, runs, gets hit hard as he reaches the 50-yard line. Take a look back at the catch from Bledsoe.
See right here, that stop on a dime and then go back for the ball. I mean, that's a hard maneuver to pull off, especially when you're getting interfered by from the defender. Interference from the defender, I should say. So Bledsoe's having himself a nice game so far today. He's showing off a lot of different skills.
2nd and 5 for CUC after the Prattley rush. They hand it off to Jordan Garcia. Spins around a man and finally gets brought down by number 2, Ernesto Ramirez. Garcia only 5 foot, but still has a lot of power And you saw what happened. It's tough to bring down a small running back like Garcia was able to spin around out of a tackle.
It's what you call a spark plug player. He's got, he's close to the ground already, so it's just hard to bring him down, especially when he's strong like Garcia's showing off right now, able to spin off that tackle after he ran into it head first.
So 3rd and 1 for CUC. Aurora showing blitz. They do blitz. Bradley keeps it, avoids the tackle, and gets out of bounds and picks up the first down. Number 49, Robbie Coleman, was in the backfield. Cougars are trying to go down the sideline to Bledsoe, but instead they'll keep it on the ground, and Bradley uses his feet again to get a new set of downs.
I think Pratley and his skill set's really well suited for this game. Aurora, they've been bringing the blitz all day. Pratley's got the feet and the speed to escape it and get some yards out of it. And we've seen that ever since he came in. He's done a really good job of doing that. So Aurora, they're still bringing the pressure, but Pratley's doing a good job of escaping it and turning it into any kind of gain.
Gets out of the pocket, goes left. Garcia slides down at the 40. A pickup of 2 on the play. But you talk about it too, the difference between Allers and Pratley. Allers, very traditional pocket passer. He can use his feet, but Pratley is really showing off his legs in this game. And as you mentioned, it's kind of opened up a little bit more of this offense in terms of what Aurora is giving the Cougars as the clock winds down in the 3rd quarter. The Cougars able to score for the first time in the game. They trail 49-7. Their drive continues when we come back for 4th quarter football from Concordia University, Chicago on the Cougar Sports Network. Second and 8 for the Cougars. 2 backs in the backfield. They hand it off to Garcia again. Pickup of 1 on the play. Cougars in that last quarter, 112 yards of offense. The Spartans only 7. Now bringing the game total for CUC to 131 yards of offense. 3rd and long on the 39-yard line. Pratley dumps it off short into the grasp of number 7, Christian Bauer. Makes a man miss before getting knocked out at the 20-yard line. An interception, the 4th turnover of the day for CUC.
Well, a lot of the interceptions have been kind of similar in that they're usually just into the middle of the box, and the Aurora just has so many bodies in there. One of them is bound to get his hands on it, so we saw it there. We've seen it a couple other times. Remember Aller's interception on the goal line at last quarter. So Aurora doing a good job stacking up their personnel, just getting a bunch of bodies in front of the ball. One of them is bound to come away with it.
Bauer jumped the pass, takes it back all the way to the 20 after a 42-yard return. Swanson hands it off to Cretin, keeps the legs moving. Nice pickup on the play. We'll take a look back at the interception. Peter Bauer just able to get right in the throwing lane and then takes it back for a nice gain of 42 yards on the return.
A couple of these interceptions, you kind of wonder where the CUC QB is going to. But when Aurora has so many bodies, and a lot of big bodies too, this is a big physical defense with a lot of reach to boot. They're just gonna get something on that ball.
They keep it on the ground again. Cretin able to get the first down after the misdirection. Tackle made by Brendan Baugh. It'll be 1st and goal for the Spartans. 2 receivers each side. Cretin still in the backfield. Cougars bring a little pressure. Cretin able to pick up a yard or 2. Tackle made by Trayvon Thomas. Ball placed at the 5-yard line. Spartans right back on the ball. Man in motion is Tyler Duncan. Another handoff to Cretin. Gets hit in the backfield before getting tackled at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Justin Aduo in on the tackle for CUC. They give the Spartans a yard on the rush, so it's on the 4-yard line. Spartans 1 for 8 on 3rd downs in the game. Swanson looks left, dumps it short, in and out of the hands of number 23, James Martino. Don Beebe looking to keep the offense on the field. Spartans have not converted on a 4th down all game. Play action, into the end zone and in for the score. Number 17, Tyler Duncan, the senior tight end, picks up his first touchdown of the season. Duncan, a little chip block on the outside and then floated right into the end zone.
Well, 6'4", 225 senior. That's what Duncan stands at. Big body, big target. Once he got into a little bit of free space, that touchdown is about as as certain as you can get.
Spartans getting ready to kick the point after attempt. Up and through the uprights, 56-7 in favor of the Spartans. Duncan caps off a 6-play, 20-yard drive. Take a look back at the replay, which is a simple play for the Spartans. After rushing the ball so many times to Cretin, a nice dump off to Duncan for the score.
What we've seen today, Aurora's offense is so versatile. They can do so many different things really well. That's what makes them such a good offense. You never know where they're going to attack from if you're the opposing defense.
11:47 remaining in the 4th quarter. Cougars getting ready to receive the kickoff. Haven't had any luck on the return game so far. Kevin Landa has done a good job of kicking it deep enough where it forces the Cougars to call a fair catch. But we've also seen him, too, do a couple pooch kicks. Not the strongest kick. Covington will pick it up at the 19-yard line. Cougars get ready to bring out the offense again after the interception thrown by Troy Prattley.
Still, even with that interception and even the pick six by Allers last quarter, this offense has looked a lot better in the second half. They actually put some points up on the board, and they're just moving the chains more consistently. So I'd like to see that continue to show signs of improvement from their early game struggles.
Bradley in at quarterback for CUC again. Garcia in the backfield. Bradley has no time to throw it out to the outside. Devin Bledsoe fell down outside, and then in the face of Bradley as well was none other than Jared Pratt.
We mentioned Pratt a couple times, back at it again, doing what he does best.
A loss of 5 on the play.
That makes 6 total tackles for Pratt on the day. 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups as well. The D lineman getting it done all over the field.
A draw from Prattley. Runs it up the middle, able to get back the yardage after the sack, or gets close to it. Pick up a 4 on the rush. 3rd and 11 for CUC. Three receivers to the near side. Prattley looks left, steps up in the pocket, and then gets brought down in the backfield. In on the tackle for the Spartans is number 99, Jalen Jordan. There's a Spartan down on the field. He gets attended to by the training staff. It'll be 4th and long for CUC when we return. Spartans up 56-7 with 10:31 remaining in the 4th quarter. The injured player for the Spartans was number 42, Jared Pratt. He was able to skip his way to the sideline. Punt unit out on the field for CUC. It was bobbled, but able to get it away was Ryan Auer. A good punt after a low snap. Fair catch by Martino at the 41-yard line. Next week, the Cougars will hit the road for the first time this season. They'll travel up to Mequon, Wisconsin to take on Concordia University, Wisconsin, a 1 p.m. kickoff. The Spartans will also be on the road next week. They travel to Rockford for a 1 p.m. kickoff against the Regents. New quarterback into the game for the Spartans as well. And they hand it off to a new running back, number 27, Zach Russell, the sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma. The new quarterback for the Spartans, Ian Luandi from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. The sophomore replaces Josh Swanson. Gain of 3 on the carry. Throws it outside. Cougars come in masses and able to bring down the receiver on the far side. Pass was completed out to number 11, Cole Jackson. Loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 8 at the 43-yard line.
Well, assuming this is the last we've seen of Swanson, we'll check on his stat line just after this play.
Lawandi rolls right, throws it to the sideline. Good pass breakup by Cleveland Tucker. The pass was intended for Ty Pruitt. A 3-and-out for the Spartans with a new quarterback in. But again, a good breakup by Cleveland Tucker, the freshman safety.
So Josh Swanson leaves the game, assuming he doesn't come back for the rest of the time remaining. 20 for 35, 325 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'd say that's a pretty good stat line to leave the game with.
Makes a good argument, too, for Conference Player of the Week as well.
And keep an eye on that once those awards start coming out.
A short punt from Aurora. Takes a couple back bounces before it's picked up at the 39-yard line. Cougar offense getting ready to go back out on the field. After the 3-and-out on their last drive. This will be the 18th drive of the game for CUC. 10 of which have been 3-and-outs. Prattley hands it off in the backfield for a gain of 2 on the play. It's handed off to number 15. Darian Sykes, the freshman, had a couple rushes last week as well. The wide receiver can also be brought back into the backfield. Gain of 1 on the play. Man in motion for CUC. They hand it off to Sykes again. Able to cross the 45-yard line. Pickup of 3. 3rd and 5 for CUC.
Well, less than 8 minutes to go. You're down by 49. Good time to try some stuff out, so at least you know what works, what doesn't work for upcoming games. Some different personnel in there, like seeing Sykes in the backfield, also partially due to how beat up the Cougars running back core is right now.
Four seconds on the play clock for CUC. They get the snap off. Prattley keeps it himself, leaps over a man and slides down around the 46-yard line. Able to get the first down. Moves the chains for CUC. 7:12 remaining in the ball game. Cougars trying to put together a nice drive. Bunch formation to the right. Low snap, a flag flies on the play, and then it's shut down. A late flag signaling a false start on CUC. False start called on Devonta Freeman, the freshman lineman. 1st and 15 for the Cougars. Moves the ball on the other side of the 50-yard line. Sykes in the backfield. Speed in motion. They hand it off to Speed. Turns up the corner. Able to get back at some of the penalty yardage. Gets to the 44-yard line. 2nd and long for CUC. Speed with a nice carry. His first rush of the game. Gets a pickup of 8 on the play. They hand it off to Dalton Bowler. He gets pushed out in front of the Concordia bench. It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Cougars. Cougars really trying to use their wide receiver speed and try to find the edge. Two receivers to the right. Nate Speed, the lone receiver, to the left. Bradley, the handoff, hands it to Sykes. He's able to break through the line of scrimmage before being held up by number 95. Isaiah Perrin, as well as Joel Costin, is able to get the first down.
Cougars rushing it a lot now. Seem content with just trying to keep chipping away at some yards here. We're under 5 minutes to go here in regulation.
A gain of 3 on the play. New set of downs. They hand it off to Sykes again. Gain of 1 on the play. In on the tackle for the Spartans. Number 52, Stephen Tinsley. Second and 9 for the Cougars. 4:15 remaining in the ball game. Ball sits at the 36-yard line. They motion Sykes out of the backfield. Pratley wanted to go right, keeps it himself. Gets knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Number 34, Andrew Noland on the tackle. Bradley able to get a yard on the play. 3rd and 8 for CUC.
8 plays into this drive. So far, every play has been a rush. No passing attempts yet.
Cougars trying to be conservative and move the ball downfield. Trying to get a late score. Spartans bring the house. Snap is bobbled. Bradley still can't pick it up. And now it's picked up by a Spartan. Number 28, Deuce Moore, able to jump on the fumble. Another turnover for the Cougars, the 5th of the day. The Spartans will have the ball at the 37-yard line of CUC. Luandi hands it off in the backfield to 27, Zach Russell. A nice pickup of 11 on the play, moves the chains for the Spartans. Again, we talked about it, Peter. This is a team that's very good on first down plays.
They like to go for it on first down, too. You'll see some teams, they don't like to try to make the big play on your first down. You get a feel for the defense first, but Aurora, they just go for it. Big pass, big rush. They don't care. They want to get as many yards as they can get as quick as they can get them. And that usually starts on their first down play.
Luandi keeps it himself, shows off the speed, has the first down, and then slides out of bounds. Knocked out around the 15-yard line. So back-to-back rushes for the Spartans for 10 yards or more. 2:18 remaining in the ball game. Spartans will look to try to get in the end zone one more time before clock winds down. Luandi hands it off. Russell gets knocked down around the 3-yard line. Ball will be spotted at the 4. First and goal for the Spartans. Not taking their foot off the gas pedal. Luandi taking his time getting the offense set, trying to wind as much time down off the play clock, which is now at 8 seconds. Luandi now under center will take a knee. So the Spartans able to get a couple big plays and take a knee, and looks to be the end of the ball game as the Spartans will get ready to enter victory formation. It was a game that was slow in the beginning, Peter. A lot of defensive play from each side. And then right as the end of the first quarter started to come around, the Spartans able to put up 14 points, and after that, the floodgate opened. Spartans offense putting up 56 points, backed by their senior quarterback, Josh Swanson, 325 yards, 6 touchdowns. To talk about the receiving efforts as well, Trey Madsen, 7 receptions, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Just 2 names that really made a difference for the Spartans offense, but all around this Aurora team took care of business, and it shows why this offense, led by their head coach, Don Beebe, is so explosive.
Well, explosive is the word I was just going to say, Carter. They get big plays off like there's no tomorrow. You know, big plays classified as rushes of 10-plus yards or completions of 15-plus yards. They rattled off 9 of those today for 248 yards. That's where a lot of their scoring came from, too, is their receivers going downfield, catching that ball and just booking it into the end zone. Cougars, I think they played a little too conservative all day. Rushes, short passes, things like that. They only rattled off 3 of those big plays I just mentioned. But like you mentioned, defense, they looked pretty good at certain points. I think they just kind of got a little tired at some points just because of how many 3-and-outs this offense had. So decent enough game from the defense. I think they would have looked a little better if they had a bit more time off the field, but definitely some positive takeaways from today. Just couldn't get it done in the end, though.
Final score of today's contest, the Aurora University Spartans 56, Concordia University Chicago Cougars 7. Want to give a quick shout out to all the members of the production team: Sydney Lloyd, Jackson Holzheimer, Ryan McGee, Julia Beers, as well as Wyatt McLaughlin, Chandler Kerr, Rafael Gonzalez, and everybody a part of the Cougar Sports Network under the direction of Kayla McLeod, Sydney Palaskis-Laher, and CJ Selner. For my partner, Peter Borkowski, and I want to sign off. Cougars look to get back in action on Saturday on the road against Concordia University, Wisconsin. 1 p.m. kickoff from Mequon, Wisconsin. Till then, stay around as the Cougars are going to be in action more this week. Head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Have a good rest of your Sunday afternoon, and thank you for watching today's football game on the Cougar Sports Network.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.